All right, I am standing inside my two-car garage. The wife's dirty car is right here. There's my snowblower that I barely had to use. I've got a 12-foot ceiling. So yeah, there's that. Those are some shelves that I built. That's not part of the weekend workshop. That's just shelves that I built after looking around online. I have similar shelves in other places around the garage. Also, anything above 8 foot tall, so that last 4 feet is all wasted space unless I put something in there. There you can see the remnants of my workbench. It is now attached to the wall. The main bench has been taken off and removed. The lower kickstand area or whatever is the new flip down desk, but I'm going to be getting rid of that. It's too heavy and ungainly and it doesn't really do any good anyway. There's my unfinished BMW Plus. I need to make some shelves that go in there and some doors and a back and a top, and that's really all that's remaining on this thing. I did thicken up this side a little bit here, and what I'm going to do there is I'm going to install that clamp on there and probably put in some dog holes on this as well while I'm at it. I've always wanted dog holes, and now I'm going to have them. The next thing I'm going to build is going to be the miter saw stand because this monstrosity is something I built myself. I had no plans. I had nothing in mind for it. All it was going to be was an off feed, a table saw off feed. I can't remember the term for that. Where I was going to build a box that was just a little bit shorter than my table saw, and that way things wouldn't go clattering to the ground. As time went by, I added stuff to the side of it so I could hang things. I started putting stuff in the bottom of it, including a hole that I cut out down there for the bucket that is part of my dust collection. That turned out to be a little bit more trouble than it's worth. But then I started modifying the top, and I cut out a strip of the melamine that's original to it, and I put in my miter saw. Oh, that's great. And then while I'm at it, I bought a router table, a Ryobi one, for 99 bucks. Good deal there. And I installed that in the other side, and then I stuck my drill press in between them, and hey, I got some open area there. Isn't that great? Isn't that useful? This is a great place to collect sawdust, and it's a great place to lose things under the sawdust. It's really not a very handy thing to have around. It's a big monstrosity, and it's got to go. And if this thing has got to go, then I need to finish up the drawers on my BMW Plus to put some stuff in there. And then I got to start going on replacement for these. So my plan is to build the miter saw stand and at the same time build a second miter saw stand, but one that's wide enough to accommodate my router table. I think that'll be a good plan there. And then this big behemoth is going to be dismantled and discarded, and that'll be the end of that. It takes up a lot of space. It's not very useful. There are casters underneath it that I can use on future projects, like some place to put my planer and things like that. There is an unfinished an unfinished Rio. And it's unfinished because my motorcycle has been in the way and it's been cold, and I'm a big complainer. So that will be finished up shortly, and so there will be that plus the BMW will be my first two projects that are done. This right here is what began as the top of my workbench, the family handyman workbench. That was put up against the wall where the Rio is right now, and I used the cross pieces of the workbench to serve as 2x4 shelving. Semi-useful, but not really, and so I got rid of it. I'll probably be reusing some of those 2x4s in other projects, probably in things that aren't going to be seen. You do see I have a wall back here behind some cornhole boards. Hey, cornhole boards. That wall has been in use, and I can share some stuff out of that as well. Cornhole boards are something that I started late last summer. I wanted to have a little side project and maybe something where I could make a little bit of money. Well, with all of our social distancing and stuff, I don't know if cornhole boards are really going to sell very well this year, but I'm going to get those finished up before too long and see what happens. Because honestly, I don't think this virus thing is going to last too much longer. I think we're going to have to start reincorporating as a society, but more about that in another talk. This is my also see everything here is unfinished. This is my unfinished dust collection cart. I don't know what the word is for it. I went to Menards and I brought my vacuum in there with me, and I looked at some PVC that was pretty close to the right size. I used a heat gun to warm up the ends, and I put them in the attachment sections of the vacuum, that's what they call these things, and stuck it in there. And then I made a base out of plywood to stick the bucket into. As you can see, the hole that I made is just a little bit too small for the bucket to rest down on the lip or whatever you call that edge there. So I do need to expand that a little bit, and I'm kind of noodling ideas on how best to do that. But once that sits down there flush, it'll be more stable, it'll be more useful. It's already better than my original plan of sticking it inside there and then bringing the vacuum around with me. Vacuum is a little bit too tall to fit into that section, in case you're wondering. There's my table saw. That was my big purchase 2 years ago. I love the thing, and I like making jigs for it and stuff like that. The other thing that I'll show you, and believe me, this is all going to get cleaned up because this is horrible. But the last thing for me to show you is one little shop project that I did that I'm kind of proud of. And what it is my dado set holder. I made that out of 1x4s and a little bit of glue, and that's pretty much it. I used the dado blades themselves to cut the 45-degree angle notches there because a regular saw blade wasn't thick enough. So I made them, I believe they're 3/4 of an inch apart because 1/2 an inch apart, and the remaining material was starting to break off. So I made them at a 45-degree angle, 3/4 of an inch apart as I went up and down the board. There are more grooves than what I actually needed, but I figured it's a shop project and that's okay. Maybe it's room for expansion. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just a cautionary tale. Then just a dowel in the top for some of my spacers, and the whole thing was done. Yeah, I've gotten into using my wall here on a couple different items. It's almost addictive once you start doing it. Anyhow, other people have shared a few pictures of their shop. This is a very embarrassing video of my shop that I have. This is my before picture. Before and in progress. And it's not safe, it's not handy at all, it's completely unuseful, and I'm going to start doing something about that right now. Have a great day, Weekend Workshop.